How do you want to do this? What do you like to offer to your dead friend? You're like the salt thing. Just give it spice him up real nice. The priest is like. We roll that with advantage because that's good. Great. Roll your intimidation. You get advantage for that. So how we kind of had you guys when you guys first came into town. After you guys walked into town, right, and you followed Gumiho, I believe. Gumiho and Zabusk. Followed them, and you guys kind of got like day drunk, you know, like getting, and that's kind of how I like allowed you guys to bow out of the game. Was that you two stayed and continued to just drink it out, drink the day away, you know, super hungover. You guys took a sleep, and then it was that next morning that some alarms started ringing off in the city. Right, you guys were awoken immediately since you were closer to the city, and you went to go investigate this, whatever was going on. And they would have gotten to the Manticore before you guys did.
Oh.
Yes. So you guys approached this creature that was with these nasty, leathery, spined wings. Its skin was like these quills coming back down its body. Its tail was like super prehensile, like a scorpion. It was whipping and killing guards left and right. And people were screaming, being lifted up into the air. It was screaming something about where its child was. It was looking for its child. Its face is a woman's face, but it's like got the lips like split, and it's got these nasty like, you know, like teeth and nasty pinches. Terrible, horrible. Never want to. Poisonous, all sorts of terrible things.
Killed you.
Yeah. You guys were not able to kill it. In fact, you guys began to engage it and help the guards. By that moment, something else caught your attention. You noticed that the man who you guys brought in to town, who was followed by the chains, you guys noticed that for some reason he flung himself off the balcony. Like it looked like he straight up jumped. Fell off the balcony, hit the ground, was immediately, and so and then you got yelled at by Garen, who I don't think you guys would have known his name. Just some butler dude with weird wooden clogs. Yelled at you to go try and like help him because he was being like surrounded by this manticore, and you guys would have went into the building, into the doorway, and at that moment in the doorway you were ambushed by some. Just quickly, they would have clocked you right over the head before you even realized it, because they were waiting on the other side of the door. But both of you go ahead and roll a perception check. See how aware you were at that moment. And you'll add your perception skill that is on the little bubble list there. 5 and 19. Wow. Artist saw something.
Plus 1, so 6.
Is if I close that?
No,
That's blinding.
Cindy got a 6.
A 6, okay.
I'm sorry. I told you to use my dice.
Perception, you said, what do I do?
You'll just add that perception, that plus to
Plus
the
2.
dice. Plus, so you got 21.
21.
21. So you were as a mastermind rogue. I don't know yet how you want to like roll with your character. Do you have an idea of like what would have distracted your character at that moment? Maybe something on your mind, kind of, or
Just any sort of sound or movement.
okay. Alright. And artists, what you did get, just a very brief glimpse, is these figures. You couldn't actually see them, you just saw flashing peripheral vision of this like almost red maroon colored armor. Maybe a gilded edge, a gold gilded edge. That's all you saw before you guys were knocked unconscious. And at the moment you guys are not awake. We'll see if they find you. And if they don't find you, you guys are screwed. Goodbye.
Perfect. Knife room. I'm hurting right now. I have 8 hit points left.
And just to fill you guys in on what's happened since you guys are gone, is that these ones you were there for the first game. They all fought. They were trapped inside of a salt mine, being enslaved by ogres, and they were able to slay an ogre with Gumiho getting the killing blow, because he seems to steal that from everybody.
Yeah.
He got it.
I got the
Oh yes, you got the carpet. Yep, you killed the carpet. So they were able to get out of the mine, but not without encountering this hobgoblin creature, red skin, and had these nasty blades that did a lot of damage to a few people. Really, he seemed real nasty. Yeah.
He fucked him up. I just finished the job.
Oh no, it was the ogre that fucked you up.
No.
Oh no, because he got hit by both. Because like
I
over
was-
I thought he broke your ribs in the cave in the initial.
broke
Yeah,
my
after he got like cut by the
So I was laying there trying to do
Oh.
safe throws, and then he came to try to heal me, and then he
failed your
just
save.
fucked up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that happened. Artis is like doing the thing like where he's like, live man, and hits his chest with the fist, you know, like.
No, too hard.
But this Juniper seemed to say something in Goblin that really upset him, and that changed the dynamic of
She
what
got
was
the
going
fight
on.
going.
It was sort of like this person gloating originally, sort of like I caught you, you know, that kind of thing. But then she said something in Goblin to him, and his like expression changed, everything changed. He immediately tried to kill her. And Zev tried to save her, and Zev got hurt too. And then the individual ran off into the cave, not to be seen. Took a dash, and ran away. Came back to the town after getting out of the mines, and immediately split up. I believe you two went to deliver Roger to his manor. They took this nobleman who was trapped with them. He was, kind of a prissy little something. And they took him along with him, and they led him through the town in chains until he asked to be let go. But they took him back to his noble estate, and they started talking a little bit. And then Gumiho and you guys went to go eat and drink. And then you guys stayed, and Gumiho left with Zavusk, the 14-year-old half-orc, and went to visit his mother, who he has talked so highly of, at this. And that's where they all met up, and they went to this bounty hunter place where the mother essentially performed a ritual to give them a target, as they were initiated into the bounty hunters guild because Gumiho killed the ogre when he shouldn't have. So now these ones are all inducted into this bounty hunters guild, and they have a quarry, which is a shape changer. And they've been on the hunt for that. And have you guys encountered it again?
No.
No.
Good. Well, not that you know of, but.
So
did everybody get like character designs?
We
We
did.
explained how we look.
Yeah, and you guys will have to do that too. So I don't think you have to, because you already explained what your character looks like. But if you have an idea of what your character looks like, start letting them mull around, because as soon as they see you, you're gonna be like describing your character, right?
Well, we
drew my character.
Okay,
Ooh.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. So last game, we'll get through where we already were. You guys heard this battle start to ensue in the forest, and started seeing little hints of something massive flying and dropping guards. And Librai had some choice phrase both in and out of combat. You definitely gave the guards a little spank for being so lazy. Librai spoke with the commander of the guards and insisted the group have their own investigation of the guards, so you'll have to decide where you want to do that. With the dust settled, Roger has no clue. He's on the ground. He's like, I don't know what happened. I just fell off this ledge. And you guys kind of found some tracks leading to where the dead cub was. You guys split up to investigate. You went to the shoemaker to try and determine the tracks of the specific print, and you learned there that the print in the forest that led to the cubs was Roger's shoe. You went to go learn about shape changers, manticores.
Manticores.
And then you went to go investigate, you met One-Eyed Jim and tried to put guards with him. You wanted to touch your fur because he might be into that. Who knows? And then you guys went to the house where you had been told this is where Ansi had lived. Ansi was they found evidence that there might have been like a sort of correlation between a disgruntled gardener who had a similar tattoo to what they were looking for, as well as the same time that you guys were all abducted a week ago. And so, let's see. You all went into Ansi's house as you met up, you two delivering your own information. You all went into Ansi's house, saw there was nothing except in the office. There was a lot of cool, sort of intricate decorations, lots of ledgers that you found, kind of maybe telling you some information, maybe not. And you wanted to grab those swords, but you couldn't. They were stuck on there. And then when Juniper had touched the handle, it had launched a trap where the rug had ensnared you, and the swords flew off the wall and started killing everybody. You turned into a bear. You're still a bear.
Sure did.
You're bearing around.
A slow bear, though.
Libra, you killed both the rug and a sword.
I did, yeah.
Unfortunately, you smashed the sword that you wanted. You also
I got a
killed.
piece of it, though.
Yeah, you did. You got it with the blade as in the jade. Cool. I wrote Gumiho is Baloo from the Jungle Book.
I'm blue?
Oh!
You're
singing
I was
songs.
like, I'm a blue bear now?
We ended as you guys were about to descend into the sewers. So that is where you are. You are currently sitting in this smaller office, as I described before. There's a lot of intricate little knickknacks. You found some gold in a chest, and you found a little desk. Every now and then, as you guys are kind of standing looking down, you see sort of this. It's like a pipe. With as far as you can see in the darkness, you see this pipe inlaid into like a sewer bottom. The pipe is broken on like half of it, so it's like kind of just like a crescent pipe, but it's broken on the top. You can see clearly. You guys gonna descend into the cave or into the sewer?
Are we gonna try and push me in as a bear?
Yeah. Gumiho is like, he's not actually talking. He's just like.
And I'm still a boar.
Oh, that's
Oh,
you.
that's right.
So we got Pumbaa. We got Pumbaa and Baloo here.
Man.
And a larger sized Timon.
So, wait, do we regain these hit points, or we're still at...
So you're at your what you were plus the gain that you got from the level.
Okay.
So like if you had 3 hit points and got 8 for your next level, you would be at 11 or whatever. Oh, this is too happy of music. You're about to go do something dangerous. You can drop it if you choose.
Yeah.
But I don't want.
Okay. So are you gonna try and fit down and see if you can fit? Go ahead first.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys watch as he kind of like sort of does the bear like weird paw thing and like sticks his head in. Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check for me.
10
Plus your bear acrobatics.
Oh, bear.
Yeah. Not your Gumiho is a little more acrobatic than a bear, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
You should be. I mean, if you're killing bears, then. And as he's sort of like trying to fit himself down, those who are keener in senses can hear that every now and then the water goes, and then 5 minutes will pass, and then again. So it seems to be like there's maybe some sort of like in this. It's like a steam sewer. It's pressured in some way, and it's timed as well, as far as you guys can tell.
Which one would be acrobatics? Because it doesn't.
Dexterity.
Dexterity.
Whatever the plus for dexterity is, it'll say near the top.
Plus 0.
Oh, plus 0. So 10. As you guys are listening to the water, the bear is just trying to shove himself in. It's just not really working. He's too big around. He's got the big old like bear belly from eating too much honey. And
Am I cool now?
yeah, you got a nice crop top on. Does anyone want to try and help push him in?
Am I gonna take hit points for this? And then
I said we tried something else that might have a better chance of fitting down there.
Yeah.
I have a lot of hit points.
He can't understand you. He just can't speak to you.
Okay.
I can ram into him.
Oh, you're gonna try that? You can charge. You can charge. Go ahead.
Wait, how many hit points is that?
I get a lot.
Yeah, you go ahead and do you want to charge at him? We can say that you do non-lethal damage if you want to. It'll take a little bit, but
I can do that.
Okay, go ahead and roll
If
it.
you feel comfortable.
Go ahead and roll your attack.
5.
You see the boar starts to doesn't say anything because she can't. Starts to back up about 20 feet. And then
Just sitting there.
then starts running right at this bear. Go ahead and roll your.
Okay, that's fine. Oh.
Is your AC 11 as a bear?
Bear AC, yeah, 11.
Okay, so go ahead and roll the attack
1d6.
on the charge. Or actually, it would be just a gore, but it would be with the 20 foot. You get advantage or something. So go ahead and roll it with advantage. Oh no, just you'll have to still roll the attack to see if you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 6. Go ahead and roll it again, because you're charging from 20 feet.
What is that?
11.
11. Okay, plus your whatever the plus is for the gore attack there.
Four. You mean the charge? Or
Is the charge an attack or is that just?
Well, I
like
can't really do the charge because I need at least 20 feet.
You got the
You
charge.
said-
Yeah, you
Oh,
backed up.
oh,
You
right,
backed up into the
so-
living room and charged from there.
Takes an extra 3 1d6 slashing
Okay.
damage.
Is the you rolled what?
a 6.
And a
But an
Or-
11. Right.
Yeah, no,
It
What's your
must
hit- what's your
exceed
AC?
A DC 11.
My
strength
AC is
saving
11.
throw.
Okay, so you hit. So go ahead and roll 3d6.
Does this first one count?
What's that?
Does this first one count?
She
The-
rolled a 6
Oh,
first.
oh.
The 6.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Let me get a 6.
4,
10.
2.
3. So 13. Round that down to 7. Or we'll round that down to 6 actually. So you
Okay.
take 6 hit points.
I'm
And
still
you're
at
showing
20.
only 2 inches down. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding. No, you kind of pop downwards in your head, sort of like you get shoved in quite a ways, and your head is now in this sort of dark cave. But you're still stuck.
Oh
You're still stuck.
my gosh.
You two are just coming to consciousness. At that moment, you
Well,
guys
that's
have
like
your
my
hands bound with chain above your head, and you guys now see as this like weird. You guys hear this weird sound like, and then all of a sudden this bear head pops through the hole through a hole in the ceiling. This hole is the same hole that the individual, the nobleman, that you guys walked back from the cave. Same hole that he comes down every now and then before walking off in a different direction into the sewer. Or running sometimes. Sometimes he runs through it. But you now see this bear kind of poke his head down and like start looking at you, and you see both of the people you started with in the cave are still bound in this sort of like sewer room, sort of. And as you get go ahead and roll a perception check while you're halfway stuck through here.
Oh, wait, that's
You guys are just always in chains.
I know, right?
19.
19.
So plus for perception.
Oh, perception.
You have your
As
own
a bear?
wisdom. Nope, not as a
Oh.
bear. That's a mental thing.
Yeah. Plus 4.
Plus 4, so 23.
20.
Nice. You, with a keen eye and dark vision, look around. You see that what sort of mimicked from above is another sort of office space, but there's a lot more papers around in this one. You kind of get the sense that this is like the lower office where maybe some other things are taken care of that can't be seen up in the other area. Desks, papers. There's like a bucket with some, and then you find more. You see more costumes, more clothing racks, and you see a little. Yeah. So, are you guys gonna continue trying to ram him down this hole? One more good ram, and he might pop free.
I mean, I'm at 21.
Unless you guys want to
As
try
a
something
bear.
different.
As a bear. As my normal
Can you
self, I'm at
still
12.
change it to like,
No, it's my last one. Before I.
Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check for me. If you roll high, like you're wiggling, I'm assuming you're wiggling. We'll see if you can pop out. So what did we tell you, man? You shouldn't have rolled it.
Sounds so terrible.
It's a 1.
Oh my god.
anywhere.
I guess, yeah, just write me again.
Okay.
The bear is like drooling down at this point, like because he can't like hold his jowls, he can't hold onto the spit in his mouth. So it's just like dripping and stuff.
Oh. 3.
Three, okay. It's probably less effective on the damage, but you still hit him.
Okay.
And you are able finally at that point you feel something else hit your butt, your big old bear rump, and you pop out. You feel like you got a little scratched, but you're able, you plop and you fall about 10 feet and you hit the water below. It's just this kind of stagnant water that smells really bad, but good as a bear.
I want to jump down into the hole now,
'Kay.
on top of the bear, so I don't get wet.
Perfect, yeah. you jump right down, and then you see what I told him before. You see like desk, and you see them kind of chained over to the wall. They're like, they look kind of hurt, but not quite. I'll say that both of you guys. How many hit points do you guys have?
I got 20.
22.
Take 6 off of that. Just from residual damage of being enslaved by something.
I read a thing on Facebook of someone that said he doesn't like to be touched, and then one of his teammates touched him, and he went to slash him and accidentally killed him.
Oh, I think I saw you share that. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I saw that.
I was about to be like, and then I fall on my back.
Yeah, you see them. They're chained. The female rogue. I don't know if you shared names back in the cave, really, but the one there who was actually unconscious for most of that battle has a laceration on her forehead. This one here is like bruised all over his face. His scales are like some of his scales on his arms are a little bit damaged, but they're looking like they could be better. And then at the same time, you get the visual of the desks covered in papers and the water, stagnant water that he's laying in. It smells really terrible, especially with your cat senses.
Dang.
Are you guys both jumping in after him?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna jump on down.
Okay, all right. What are you guys gonna do?
Are they awake?
They are kind of like
They can't understand me.
Like
Yeah,
they're-
I want to run over to them
Okay.
and kind of like tap them on the face. Are you
Wait,
awake? Like, hey.
can she still
hey.
understand me as a boar?
I can understand you, but I can't tell anybody what you say.
Yeah, you guys can hear him. He can't hear you.
Right.
Okay. Make sure you shut the door.
Oh,
So-
I can't. I'm a board.
Roll a dexterity check with disadvantage. That's
You said
19.
disadvantage?
Yeah, so roll it again. Oh, 15 the first time,
15.
and then roll it again, and whichever's the lower one. That's a 10. 14. Okay, not too bad. Yeah, I'd say with your tusk, you're able to kind of like flip down. You're able to close the door behind you.
Okay.
Not able to put the rug back over, but it's not tear to shreds anyways. Yeah, you walk over and you're like, hey, and you guys are kind of brought to full consciousness by the cat person that you originally were enslaved with in the mines as you were mining salt day in and day out.
I'd walk over to the desk area
Okay.
and check out, just like with my eyes to see like anything out.
Okay. You don't want to touch anything?
I don't want to touch anything.
Okay.
But I want to like, if there's like any like papers or documents or anything that match like what we found.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
While he's doing that, I want to
No.
start trying to unchain him.
I was gonna say, while he's doing that, I'll walk us over, and then I'll just start slashing hands and chain what's away.
You look and everything like with your you spend a lot of time in a monastery, not too much time with politics, and you read one letter and it starts to sound too politicky to you, and you're like, oh, shit, screw that.
Dinner.
Let me see measurement.
All right, so what were you gonna do?
I was gonna walk us over since she's on my back to try and get them loose.
Okay.
So if I can just like swing at it with my.
Sure, yeah. With your bear strength and with your kind of like getting their hands out, you guys are able to get the chains off them, no problem. Slip up their hands out and everything.
Now I wanna eat them.
Yeah, you guys are like, what the hell? Like, why is she riding a bear? Like, am I dreaming? But you guys are now free.
With my It's dark down there, right?
Yes.
Better than seeing that come.
Look for
That's what
any
I was
other exits or open.
Sure, yeah. You can look around and there's where the pipe kind of goes. There's a little hole, probably about a foot in diameter. That's where the water you assume is coming from. And then where the water goes is another bigger entrance. There's only one way. There's one way in and one way out, basically, from the trapdoor as well as a hallway that kind of goes off to the north.
It's a separate hallway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so go ahead and describe your character since you haven't gotten to describe your character for us.
So my character is 18, and has purple hair, black horns,
Oh, tiefling, that's right. I forgot about that. It's so cool.
black tail. I have the picture on my phone.
Okay.
That'd be easier.
Nice.
So since we were in chains, I drew it like
Okay, nice. That's awesome.
just like a simple, like almost burlap
Aw.
sack.
Yeah. So you got a little like burlap dress sort of.
So it's like Raven.
There you go. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you see this individual sitting, and you've got them free, and they're kind of rubbing your restraints. Ah, it really hurt. Being chained again for another couple days after your last. You thought you got out and had some alcohol, and then boom, you're back in the chains. It's at that moment that you guys start to hear like a rumbling, like of a pipe sort of like moving, and you guys you don't get hurt because you're not in the way, but the water kind of like presses down that hallway that you were seeing, and it goes real fast, and you guys get hit by a blast of steam. It's hot, and it's like immediately that room becomes humid, like super humid, and smells terrible. You guys get the sense that the sewer system in the city is pressurized in order to have a higher efficacy of getting, shit into the trash. Yeah. So, did anyone else want to do anything while you're still in this room?
Yeah, I want to go over to the desk and start.
You want to
looking
rummage around?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh
Another
man,
rummage
I'm
time.
taking
Whereas
that
the
risk.
first time. Okay. Go ahead and roll an investigation if you're using your hands to investigate.
Oh,
Oh no.
it's a
1. Okay. You kind of like rummage around, and then this like little jade gem, sort of like you just get immediately captivated by this. We'll say you have a jade gem worth 30 gold pieces in your pocket.
I want to try and investigate with my claws.
Okay.
You're gonna ruin everything.
Sure. Go ahead and investigate as a bear. Not as a bear, but as your
Ooh,
natural
20.
20. Wow. Okay, the bear does a better job. Okay. The bear, you're like kind of like getting distracted. The bear like noses you out of the way, like, and, like starts like rubbing his wet nose on like stuff and like moving around, and like bears like start to open things with their claws. He starts starting to pull the drawers open, and he like turns back to you guys and has like a letter stuck to his nose,
Oh,
and you kind of
let me
like.
take it.
They pull it off and you start to read it. The one paper that he has stuck to his nose is another ledger, written in the same handwriting as Roger Fenry, has the same stamp as Roger Fenry. It entails the purchase of a large amount of glass, silver, and stone, like quarried marble, white stone, as well as glass and silver. And then you have some papers as well in your hand, in your claws, that you're able to kind of get stuck on your claws, and you sort of like lift one up and you look, and it is a letter. The first thing that strikes out to you immediately is that there's a lot from it that's redacted, covered over with ink from a quill. But what is not redacted is that it details that I'll say, when I say specific, when I start the noun with specific, that means that it's redacted, just so you know. But basically what it entails as you read through it just quickly is that It shows the details of the approval of a specific mercenary company. Their aid is given to a specific person by a specific country's leadership. So this letter basically is saying we give you permission to make use of this mercenary company, but all the specifics of this letter are redacted by ink. And you kind of nose that over, and everyone else is able to read this information.
Damn. What do you guys think we should do now?
I want to. Oh wait, I can't talk. I'm gonna not be a boar anymore.
You're gonna come out of your boar shape.
Yeah.
You watch as the boar that just hopped down randomly, like this random pig animal from the forest, just like almost in this like green flurry of leaves and sounds of nature, sort of arcs back into a humanoid form, and you see the Eritrea, the elf woman from the cave before.
I mean, did he go down that cave or did he go back up?
I think we should go back up and
Yeah.
check out that farm.
Oh, where all the raven tattoo people
Yeah.
are?
I feel like there won't be really anything down.
I don't know. Have you guys seen anything since you've been down here in this cave?
It's pretty dark, I'd say.
Go ahead and
Was
roll.
there-
Both of you go ahead and roll history checks.
What's that one? The big one.
So just so you know, you're basically always going to roll the d20. That's the one you're always going to roll unless you're in a combat situation and you're rolling like hit dice. Four.
I can speak in a chair. I can speak over.
Both of you rolled a 4.
So 6.
Not much.
And what's your history?
+4.
Plus 4, okay. 8, that's not too bad. Given your situation, you recall like kind of like these brief glimpses as you kind of like came into consciousness after being beaten. You remember one instance where you saw those same sort of colored guard uniforms. You saw Roger Fenry speaking to them in this like hushed tone, but you weren't able to pick up, but it was like very like like that kind of thing. And then they turned and walked down the hallway that leads off into the sewer. You do also remember one time that actually really engraves into your brain. This was just after you guys have been relocated to this place. You guys went to this manticore beast, somehow like got blacked out from being hit by those guards, relocated to this place very quickly. At the same time, you saw Roger Fenry again jump down from the trapdoor, and I'm talking like double dash, like faster than any human could ever move down that sewer hallway. Talking like probably 100 feet around. Just it's fast, like super like Naruto running, like he was on a mission to go down that way, but you briefly like these are like we're talking like these are almost like, is this a dream? Is this not a dream? I'm like kind of like very out of it because he got beat over the head pretty bad.
And then have I told him about the figure I saw in like the maroon armor?
You could
Like,
tell,
to go
you could tell
forward?
him.
Yeah, I'll let them all know about that too then.
He kind of relays that information. They saw some figures with the maroon armor, whack 'em, and then they got relocated. He saw Roger Fenry speaking with them, like hushed tones, and then sort of they all ran off down. He mentions at some point that Roger Fenry ran unhumanly fast down the sewer, like not like crawling like a spider or anything, but like because that'd be scary.
So while we're figuring out where we're going, can I start doing like bandaging on myself?
Okay. Oh, to heal yourself?
Yeah.
Do you have a medicine kit?
I'm scared.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll medicine for me.
Should we maybe split up into groups?
Should have rolled your head.
Should have.
Yeah.
6.
We could do that.
Six.
There's plenty of us now.
You are. So you give yourself 1 hit point.
What do you guys think? Should we split into groups?
Who
like
has the
someone
highest
goes
perception?
down the hallway and someone
I
goes
have
to
a pretty
the
high
farm?
perception.
I have a 4.
Plus
4.
Okay, so we got a lot of +4s here. Okay, and what about you? What's your perception? 2?
I don't know.
The three of you from down that hallway, eerily, it kind of creeps you out. Like it echoes just the faintest sound of just like children,
Ooh.
like
Ooh.
laugh screaming almost.
Well,
Like
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast light on myself.
you're gonna cast light. Okay,
I'm
instantly
not-
the room is lit up as this, and you're seeing these individuals for the first time. You're seeing what she described, a tiefling in a burlap sack, and then you're seeing this high elf that's kind of got this little. Did you pick your dragon, by the way?
The colors?
What color dragon,
Oh,
or
no.
what metallic dragon, or something?
Not yet.
Red, green, blue, black, white, brass, copper,
Oh, blue.
blue. Okay, nice. So he's a little blue tinged elf with some like a little bit of scaling almost on his arms and
Like rough skin and scales.
almost like he's got some like dermatitis. You kind of peer down the tunnel, and 60 feet out, you see that it starts to go down. You can't really see much past 60 feet though. It's just a similar tunnel. As you kind of look down, you as well can kind of hear this sound of like kids playing, maybe.
Right there.
Bad.
Like that?
Like that.
Yeah, like that. Usually like that. Yeah. Like
Kinda creepy.
Right in that tunnel, that's right.
Alright,
You
guys.
guys are scared of some children?
Have you ever seen
I
a
was
horror
gonna say,
movie?
can I run into the tunnel by
It's
myself?
like it. I see like the kids floating and stuff. I'm like, no.
I get Georgie.
Fire.
Alright.
I can play.
Should we check it out or should we not check it out?
I mean, if there's somebody who will go, I'll go with them.
I have a disguise
I have
kit.
Mask of the
So
Wild.
I could disguise as a child and then we could go.
Okay.
Huh?
And I'm
And you
pretty
you
stealthy.
you should
Or
be
can you
you're proficient with that
disguise-
guy's skill as well.
Can you disguise as Roger?
Could.
You have seen him. It wouldn't be too hard.
Oh.
There's costumes here at your disposal.
Oh.
Oh.
I think Roger might be a safer bet.
Super bad.
Especially if you guys have seen him and we know that he's like
They
coming
might
out
even give you
here.
some information.
Yeah.
He's still down there. So
Well then that'll just be weird and
We
then,
don't know.
and then you'll need
So-
help.
Let's not go down.
You saw him go down. The timeline there is difficult to know. You don't know if he's down there. If that was.
Well-
You don't even know how long you've been here. You might. It could have been 5 days ago that happened. It could
Yeah,
have
you
been
don't
2
know if
minutes.
he's
I
there for
think,
sure.
Yeah, I think maybe you go down there, but then if you get in trouble, we'll be close by and can jump and help you.
Not if he's not to running.
I got
I'm saying if he dashed like that.
So can I use my disguise kit to disguise as a shadow person so that I'm all like black?
Like Peter Pan's shadow kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Go
harder
ahead
to
and
see.
roll a performance. What does it say? What your ability is used for disguising?
It just says disguise kit. And then thieves tools.
And you have your proficiency, so you would add that +2 there. So what's your performance? I feel like it's pretty good. I feel like
Performance
it'd be
is 2.
Oh, what's a higher one? What's a good one? Stealth or something?
Deception, maybe?
Oh, how's your deception?
4?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and roll a deception check and add that +2 for your proficiency.
Alright, and then that would just do this one.
Yep, the main D20 dice there.
Okay.
8 plus
4.
6, right? Because you have 4 plus. Okay. All right. So that's 14, 13, 14. Yeah. Math. I think I know. You guys watch as she kind of quickly and just about sort of like Clark Kent in the telephone box, just like it's like immediately like slathering this sort of like this oil substance and. Alright, I got this guy. I've done this before. And you get yourself to be completely shadow, like a. If you stepped against a wall and like you stepped out in front, it looked like a shadow.
Oh.
So then I creep down the tunnel.
Okay. Are you guys gonna follow it?
From
How
a
far-
distance.
what's the distance?
Maybe like 30 feet.
Okay. And what were you?
I'd say
Did you like the black?
I'm
or were
gonna
you still
do
there?
half my
I'll
dark
be the
vision.
white
There's
one.
a there. Yeah.
So I want a marching order
I'm
here.
saying half my dark vision away from
I'm pretty
Yeah,
quiet.
I
So
can see 60 feet.
Yeah, okay.
So you guys are in a pretty tight hallway. So what's the marching order, just so I know? So she's obviously out the ways.
I want to be towards the back because I'm
Oh, you want
long.
to?
Did you want to?
Yeah.
No, I'll stay close up. I'll be closer. I want to be 30 feet away from her.
Is it you cast?
Yeah,
light
so
or whatever?
are we
Oh,
all
yeah,
You'll be able to
following
see.
there?
You should probably be in the
Seems
back.
like it.
Yeah, I'll be
You don't
right
have
back.
to,
I'll be
but-
like 60
Well,
feet.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I don't know what we're doing. That's why I asked. Are we all following her? I'll be after her,
Maybe after her case.
and I follow.
I'm
You wanna be
I'm
30 feet
okay
away from her?
Not being in the front, but 30 feet away.
Oh,
from
so
her.
you don't want to be in the front?
It doesn't matter. If somebody
Gumi
else,
knows-
if somebody
okay,
else
Gumi
wants
knows
to be.
Man, I call the
They're in the
front.
front.
All right.
I
So
think
you want to be 30
my
feet away
leather's
from
a
her?
little bit
Yeah.
You
more
gotta roll the
protected.
dice. Who's in the front?
Okay. So
Oh yeah, let the dice decide.
all right. So oh, do you want to be in the front?
Yeah.
That's whatever.
You can be in front of the bear or by the bear. Or...
You could be on top of
Mr.
it.
Sorcerer, do you want to be a little bit up or in the
You
back
could
of the group?
ride the bear.
Ride the bear.
Or do you want to be in the back of the group or the middle of the group?
I'm gonna be in the middle.
Actually,
Yeah.
can I be like climbing on the walls?
Sure. Yeah. You're in the space, but you're up on the ceiling.
Hell yeah.
And,
you're the it now. Like
Libra's gonna be riding the bear.
Libra's okay. Cool. Nice.
Well,
We're doing it.
Not really
My
successful.
stealth is +5, so I feel like I should almost like no one would. I don't know. Notice.
Yeah.
They won't
guess it
notice
don't
you on
matter.
top of the bear.
No.
Or you can be under the bear.
Yeah. There you go. You're riding like in the sheep in the Cyclops.
So you hold on to the
Within the
belly.
vicinity of the bear.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Um,
then, how
and
long
then
does your
you're in the
spell
middle?
last? That,
Yeah.
like,
1 hour.
1 hour. So you guys have a how? Do you know how big the radius is?
It says bright light for 20 feet from where you cast,
Okay.
and then dim light for an extra 20 feet.
Okay.
So it'll
Okay, so
be-
we can like see her.
Nice.
Okay, it's good he's in the back.
Yeah.
It might draw attention.
Yep. So this light's emitting and it's sort of dancing along the wall since he's kind of behind everyone. There's these shadows that are like dancing along the edge of the sewers as you guys walk through.
Following the main channel.
You guys start to walk and the sort of the sound of the children gets louder. A little bit louder, not too much louder. And about 4 minutes of walking down this tunnel, you guys hear, and then from behind you, that large column of water smashes right into you guys. Everyone roll a dexterity
Does
check.
it hit me because I'm on the ceiling?
No, it doesn't.
Sweet.
Nice, good job. Everyone who's
Dang,
not on the
I could
ceiling,
have been on the ceiling.
Everyone who's-
climbing.
everyone who's not on the ceiling,
Yeah.
you would have still gotten hit by the water. You're big, bro.
Yep.
16.
Yep.
16.
Come on.
Ew.
Ooh,
18.
good.
Nice.
Okay, and that's plus your dexterity modifiers.
4.
Your
Plus
saving
two.
throws.
+2.
22. 18.
Yours should be pretty high.
4.
17.
Nice. 22.
All right, so everyone did pretty well. Everyone.
Except for me.
Hey, what'd you roll?
4.
4.
Well, I rolled 2, but +2.
Okay.
Gone.
You're in the middle of the group, so you guys all kind of keep your footing as this was. It's hot, but it's not like burning you at all. It's just really annoying. Now you guys are damp, and you kind of slip, but you run right into the rump of a bear, and you kind of oh gosh, okay. You have no chance of sliding anywhere with a big bear in front of you.
Okay.
As long as the bear doesn't slide either. Whoops. You guys continue to walk through this hallway, and as you can almost hear this echoing reverberation of the water as it goes down the tunnel. It's kind of like sort of like when you listen to the rain sticks, you know, as it goes down this tunnel, and it kind of hits and stops, and you hear the laughter kind of like increase a little bit, and you start to see light from up ahead in the tunnel, and from the visual of what you can see from just your little porthole of the tunnel emerging into sort of like looks like a main room maybe. You can see like this rickety wooden, you especially being in the front in this shadowy form, you can see this rickety wooden floor where it was stone, this really rough hewn stone. It's like this almost like patchwork, like a dock sort of patchwork, but it's really tight, so there's not much, there's only a little bit of black that you can see through it. Are you guys stealthing?
Yeah, that's my idea.
Mask of the Wild.
Okay. So you're kind of like laying in the sewage and just like
Ew.
In the back. murky water.
She's sort of like sniper school in it. Like
I'm gonna stink.
comes up and it's like still there, like the Marcus.
Oh.
If you're stealthing, go ahead and roll a stealth check for me.
Would I be even able to stealth?
Oh, you have a disadvantage at it because you're a bear.
Yeah, I'll be stuck.
Ooh, nice.
13.
So roll it again.
Oh wait, I rolled yours. Whatever.
25.
Oh,
Nice.
I got a 20.
For disadvantage.
So am I
You take the
automatically stealth because of my disguise?
So you still have to roll it, but you would have. You're a rogue. You're gonna add your. I'd give you advantage since you're a shadow. So you'd roll it twice and take the higher, and also you're adding your stealth ability to that. That's probably pretty high as a rogue.
I'm guessing I'd be the
Yeah,
one that's like not stealthy at all with the light on.
You got your lights.
Oh,
It's,
nice.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
basically impossible for you to be stealth.
These
6.
Wow.
So
Nice.
that's
You got a
24.
20. Dang.
I got a 20.
Jeez. Rogues, man.
Yeah.
So you are completely hidden, as far as you know, to anything that's looking. And the rest of you guys are following, and you guys are all pretty stealthy, and then Artist is just like, man, where did everyone go? No, you know where they are, but like, you're like, kind of like, your staff sort of like blinks around, and the lights sort of dancing. You guys get to probably about, I want to say 15 feet from this opening. And you look in. Who's leading? Go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
16.
16. Okay. You kind of look in, and you see inside this. It's like a sort of a round chamber, and there's 4 different paths coming up. You get the sense just from being a rogue and knowing a lot about cities and how they work and that kind of thing, that this is like a sort of like a drop chute for where water would normally go, but someone has built sort of like a patchwork, like a Mad Max, like in the water. I can't remember that movie, what that movie's called, but like sort of this like floating sort of framework to walk on. And there's boxes and little like trash piles and things, and you see these little children just kind of like running around inside here playing.
We're 15 feet away.
Yeah, she is 15 feet away. You guys are about, I'd say, about 25 feet
So,
behind
so
her.
we don't know that yet. Well, maybe you.
What would you like to do? Are you gonna like bring it?
So I wave them over,
Okay.
but cautiously.
Okay.
Not in a rush, just so that they.
Your guys' stealth checks carry over if you guys want. The light from your staff blends in with the light that's already in this chamber, so it doesn't seem to be making too much of an impact on the inside of the room with the light. And you guys see as well just some children just sort of running across and they're playing.
All I imagine is a bear like walking out the side of the wall.
No, he's like picking up his rolls to like tiptoe.
Dripping from all the water on your fur.
Yeah. You're like a sponge right now.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
And freak out all of us.
You start to wave them forward, and you notice as you look back that you were looking at them to wave them forward, and you hear like the whispering, and the children's laughing stops. And when you look back, there's no one in this room.
Oh, snap.
Oh, no. I believe. How the fur on my body kind of sinks.
You guys sort of catch up, and you guys look, and there's no one in this room.
It was a mirage.
Would we have heard the whispering?
You guys wouldn't have heard the whispering. You would have heard the laughing stop as you guys got closer.
Never follow the sound of laughing children.
Especially in sewers.
Man.
It seems like another Kermit situation.
Yeah.
Are you guys walking?
There are 4 pathways.
From the vantage point that you're at the sort of, not the mouth of the door, but 15 feet back, you can see there's a similar hallway across this sort of circular path. There's another hallway off to the side and off to the side there as well.
I don't know about this, guys. I got a weird feeling.
As you guys get a look, there's torches lit in this room. There is boxes and sort of like a pile of like clothing. It's couple cots sort of laid out, and there's like little piles of food. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me. As you're looking through, since you're looking for the. Okay. You notice when you kind of look, you're like, oh, that's familiar. You see a pile of about 10 different loaves of bread in this food pile.
What is it?
10 different loaves of bread.
The little boy.
Then I gave
Oh.
bread to
Oh.
You guys
I
walking
should've
forward, or are you
killed
guys
him.
going to continue?
Ooh.
I should have killed him.
Can I stay on the ceiling and like?
Crawl up in?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
You kind of crawl up in.
I wanna cast fairy fire
Very fine, okay.
so I can see if there's any.
Let me see what Fairy Fire says, just so we're. Just so
It'll.
You don't want to
Objects
just
and-
throw Brad. He's
Like,
a
I'll
giant
move
light.
forward and then I'll do that.
Kids love
Dare
night
you
lights.
to
What are you
run
talking
in
about?
there?
If
I'm already
if
gonna
I
run
do
in.
it.
All it up.
Yeah, you guys have kind of all convened at 15 feet away from the door at this point.
Oh,
Okay.
good. We're 15 feet away.
But we're together.
No.
So.
No, I'm on the
Oh yeah,
ceiling.
you might be sick, but then he's on my bed.
Okay. And so it's a 20-foot cube. Where are you putting it in the room? The room itself is probably only about 30 feet in diameter. So if you put it in the middle, you'd hit most of the rickety sort of pathway.
Okay.
You're gonna just put it in the middle of the room, or
Maybe not, because we can see everything, can't we?
you can see mostly everything. You can still cast it if you want, just to be sure.
I don't know if I should waste one of my spell slots for
It's up
that.
to you.
Hmm.
You can roll for it too.
I'll ask you guys. Okay, I have a spell that I can use
Take
to
your noun.
see.
You're up on the
Oh
ceiling.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
If there's any living things around in the room or outside of the room, but it'll only reach 20 feet, so it'll just like show what's in the room, not outside of it.
I say it can't hurt. I don't think it hurt. 'Cause
Oh, I guess it did show the swords earlier.
Roll a
So
perception
if
check. for me.
anything is enchanted, then
yeah, I'd say
You
go
can have
for it.
I would probably throw it closer to one of the pathways to light it.
17.
17.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't know if I can
So
risk
you kind
it.
of climb upward. You're climbing upside down. You look down,
But I mean, otherwise,
and behind some of the boxes, there's some kids just hiding. There's like, from your vantage point from above, you just get a pretty good vantage point at a bunch of like, probably about, at least from what you can see right now, about 10 kids that are hiding behind boxes and underneath piles and stuff.
Can I like look back towards them and like point?
If you guys are paying, I'm sure you guys are paying enough attention. You see as she's like upside down on the ceiling and looking down, and she's like points.
ooh, I want to run and smash through the boxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yep.
Scaring those kids.
Okay.
The children.
You walk over. You immediately just this sort of like it's eerily silent here, except for every now and then water sort of pours underneath the wood. It kind of pours through, but it kind of meets through the wood. But that's the only sound. And all of a sudden, it's just like like from the
Is
hallway.
he still on his back?
Are you still on his back?
He's like, I don't want to
Guys,
be
like-
part of this.
You run through and smash through a box, instantly revealing about 10 kids, and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm just kidding. These kids instantly like wide-eyed as hell, and they just bolt into different little areas of the into the 4 different areas of the mine. They scatter immediately.
Cockroaches.
I
Can I
tried to
try
catch
and-
one.
Catch one?
Same here.
Okay,
I'm
just
trying to
try to
grab
catch
one.
I'm gonna
Okay.
try to use message on one.
Oh, can I jump down off the ceiling and also try to catch one?
You guys want to like basically launch a surprise attack on some kids? Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta catch one of them.
So, we'll get to your message. Go ahead and roll a acrobatics check. Okay, now go ahead and roll just a athletics check for me. And then you two as well, go ahead and roll athletics checks.
6.
Yeah.
13.
Okay.
6.
So it's acrobatics,
Baby
right?
kid.
19.
19.
And acrobatics 4.
Skill at catching kids.
Dang.
That one.
That's close crowd skill.
Like an old cat that you go with kids. You don't me now.
Right. So, what's your message? I just want to know what you said. So you have 25 words or less.
25 words.
25 words or less.
Essentially, just letting them know we're friendly.
Okay,
The
so
bear doesn't want to eat.
and so you want to target which kid you want to target? Do you have a specific in mind? Or you just want to pick one?
Just point at one and
Okay.
just use it on him.
Okay. You cast and you say, we're friendly. Don't worry, kids. And they're still running. They're not. So you catch a kid. You catch a kid.
Oh, sweet.
You easily catch a kid. You grab him right by the nape of his neck, like you're used to the orphans in the other city. And then you,
Rip
this
him
big old
apart.
bear, you go to catch a kid, and this seems to be the older one. It's like fuzzy red hair, just like dodges and moves and ducks out of your way. Tumbles, rolls on the wood, and like moves out of your way.
Brown bears suck.
The two you catch are like strangling against you or struggling against you, just like trying to survive. They're gonna start biting off their arms. So.
Oh,
Not really. I'm just kidding. But
Let's say, I just want to start. Calm down, kid. Calm down.
okay.
We're friendly. We're here to help you.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay.
Roll good.
Oh boy.
Just kidnap some kids.
Oh man. 8.
8. Okay. Kids, like at this point, he's got his legs up on you and is like pulling like at his own arm and stuff. You start to hear a little bit of popping. Kid, don't mess around.
So I tell the kid I catch to tell me what's going on there, or I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
Either roll
Orphan
intimidation.
or orphan.
Either roll intimidation or roll persuasion, whichever is higher for you.
Okay, so it'll be the same.
Same dice, but you're just gonna choose which number you want to add of intimidation or
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what I roll first.
10 plus either your intimidation score or your persuasion, whichever is higher.
So persuasion is 6. So I'm gonna go with persuasion.
Okay.
So nice.
All right. What color are your eyes?
They are black.
Black. Okay, good. You in this like almost hellish voice is like, silence, kid. I'm gonna beat your ass if you. And the kid's like, immediately silent. So what do you want to ask him?
What is going on in that room? Why are there so many kids?
Oh, in this room? Okay, so you guys are in this room. It's like silent. Let's see if he. Oh, he failed. Jeez. He failed his wisdom saving throw. He's like just scared. He like pisses himself. He like looks at you. He's like, "It's our home." He just kind of squeaks out, "It's our home," and is like trying to like he keeps sort of moving a little further away from you. He doesn't feel like he can get away, but he's kind of like putting distance between you two. And
Did I see the bread?
what's that?
Did I see the bread?
The bread?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. At this
I'm
point,
just
walk.
gonna yell like, "We're the ones who got you the bread."
It was this guy.
Roll
Right
a persuasion check.
Want to know why I'm not eating the bread?
16. Minus 115.
Okay. You say, "We're the ones who got you the bread," and you just hear from one of the hallways. You just hear, "Prove it."
Alright, I'll drop my bear form.
You drop your bear form? Okay. You drop your bear form, and you're next to him, sort of.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do the giving bread too.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm right here.
you do see from the middle of one of the hallways the same kid that was caught by the guards there. Sort of like steps out. It's like, "It's them guys, don't worry," and at that point when he says that, he gives the word, and about not only just the 10 kids that were scattered and came out of the hallway, some kids like come up from trash piles and like they kind of come up from underneath the wood rafters that are hanging below, and assembled instantly is just this like squadron of about like 25 to 30 kids.
Holy.
All of them dirty faced and in rags, and you do recognize the one that you guys saw in the city.
Can we still talk to that same kid?
What's that?
You still talk to the same.
Yeah,
people
he's right in
from
front of
the
you now. Yeah.
All right. I want to ask him if he knows where these pathways lead to.
Callum, and he calls out this name, and this sort of taller redheaded boy that evaded you, like, sort of steps out, and he looks to be he's the tallest.
We're lost.
He's tallest. He looks to be about 9. He's taller than you. He's like a tall kid actually, like, and he seems to be like sort of maybe in charge of the group, maybe. And he steps out and he looks at you. He's like, "Hello, my name's Callum."
Hello.
What are you doing down here?
Well, we've lost our way. We're trying to. We heard voices, and we're trying
Naya?
Wait. I'm glad we're friendly, man. All I want to know is how to get out of here. Can you help me? What's the
How'd you get in here?
pathways? None of your business.
I'm the one asking the question.
I want to ignore what he says, and I want to ask him why they hid from us.
Well, look, you see, we're all friends, right? Like, you know, we steal food sometimes, and there's guards that come down sometimes, and if we get caught, and plus, he's a fucking bear. He's trying to kill us. I don't know if you know this, but if you noticed it, but he came in and he broke our boxes, and we worked hard on those ones.
So I let go of the orphan that I made piss themselves.
Okay.
I walk up to Callum and point to the giant like wound on my head and ask if they know why they did that to me in the other room.
Well, we didn't do anything to you. We steal bread, we don't cut people.
Have you seen anyone walking back in the pathway where we came from?
Well, there's not many people who just come down here. There's some urchins sometimes. There is this one really mean guy. We stay away from him.
What is
He
he?
tried to make us eat each other.
What does he look like?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's one guy, where did he go? If he comes back from that hallway, which one of these pathways does he take to get there?
He goes straight. He goes straight every time. He came through one time. We weren't even ready. He was moving so fast, and he nabbed us. He grabbed one of me. He grabbed onto that little one over there, the one that pissed himself. And he said if we ever tell anybody,
I just watched him fall down.
he said if we ever tell anybody that we see him down here.
I'll give you some more bread.
Well, yeah, but guess what he said? He said he'd kidnap us all, and then he'd starve us and make us eat each other. That sounds pretty scary to me, and he was pretty fast too. I think he could catch every one of us, honestly.
I could just turn back into a spider and eat you all right now.
You want to know a secret, little kid? I'm faster than he is.
You sure about that?
Positive. And if he comes back here again and threatens you, like, that threat doesn't mean anything, because if you tell me where he went, I could stop him before he can ever come back here again.
Okay, roll a persuasion check. With advantage.
It's, 17. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, 17.
He kind of thinks about it. It's like, He goes that way. He goes straight across.
If you guys live down here, you know the tunnels pretty well, probably.
Yeah,
Do you know where they lead?
Well,
We can help you better if you tell us.
there is. But one thing's for sure: if you're going that way, watch out for the hands. They grab it sometimes.
Run that way.
Yeah, just watch out for guards. They sometimes come down here to look for us. Sometimes there's the wealthy folk. They often will lead sewer entrances into their wine cellars.
Hmm.
And he looks over and you see like a pile of wine just like stacked
Oh,
up.
nice.
He's like, well, you see, I think they do it to maybe get out if there's a problem, maybe, but
Do you know if any of them lead to the farm?
the farm? Well, that one, right?
Oh.
The one that you guys came from.
Leads to the farm?
Yeah, you guys.
Nancy's
Nancy's
house.
house is by
Nancy's
the
house.
farm.
Oh, it's by the farm?
Does my ability of city secrets help me at all with the orphans?
What is? I think that is that if a sleep happens. What does city secrets
City
say?
secrets was like something about being like an urchin and knowing
Okay.
like the runarounds of the city.
Okay, I think if I'm not mistaken, you have to sleep within. But you've slept multiple times. Easy. You've slept. You've hungover slept. You
We're not. Fuck out.
Slept in when I didn't want to sleep.
You actually from sleeping, you get the from sleeping when you do sleep. You get this. You get the. I believe that the city secrets it gives you basically like the layout of the city. Sort of. It's like your Assassin's Creed, like unlocking parts of the map and stuff. And you can do it when you sleep in a city, as well as just generally getting knowledge. And you get the sense from these orphans that they have similar properties in terms of like labyrinthine knowledge as they traverse since through their main area, right? And you, from what they're saying, you do know that they're telling the truth. They're not lying to you. They're not misdirecting you in terms of what they're saying in this map, sort of that they're giving you. Yeah, just if you. That's the way that he goes. He said if we ever go down there, he's gonna make us eat each other.
So you've never been down that way?
Well, we've been down there before, yes. But he said if we ever come back, then,
What did you see when you went
So-
down there?
well, that's where the grabby hands are. You don't. So just.
They
We
come
don't-
out of the walls?
I don't even know how to explain it. I've never seen anything like it before. They're like these. See, it's another. See, there's a lot of these intersections, right? The water goes down into the intersection. Yes, we covered it up with wood so we can live on it. Not all of them covered. In fact, this is the only one that's covered. That one, something will reach sometime like Mason. We haven't seen him for days. Well, months actually. He got pulled right into there by a hand. Not a human hand, but like a something. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. What's a tentacle? I mean, I guess it's kind of. Well,
A tentacle, like an octopus.
what's an octopus?
They
live in
live
sewers.
with 8 legs and their arms slither like snakes.
Like the tail of
and
a
they got
snake.
Suction cups.
They got little like circles.
So, yeah.
Do the circles have like nasty spikes in them?
No.
Oh, that's fine.
That's what it had. It had spikes on them.
Yeah.
Alright.
They grabbed right on Mason's face, pulled him in. You know, some
Hey.
Good to know.
But they said they saw him.
Interesting.
Is this one hand or hands?
lots of them.
Lots of them.
So you've been down that way though.
We've been down that way and then we stopped because the mean guys didn't even kill us.
So what did you see when you went down
It's
there?
like a
The
kraken.
hands, right?
Well,
Besides the hands.
Facing.
we did one time come in and we went and that was when we were actually scoping out the place and that's when Mason died. Or maybe missing, I don't know. Yeah, this little one, he's real sneaky and he went up and he came back and he said there was like another wine cellar at the end. It was connected. It was one of the weird ones, right? It was connected to like a hot spring of some sort. And
Roger's house?
and there was like this weird man that tried to snap him, keep his clogs on. And-
No.
But then he got away real quick. He's a fast one.
He is a fast one.
I knew he seemed a little sketchy.
Okay,
Somebody has to go back
I
to
don't
Roger's
know.
house.
I think
Well, we know the fastest way there.
I don't feel like going through the spiky hands.
Yeah, I think I need some healing
You
before
said that
I
you
try
gotten down there before without the hands touching one of the kids, right?
Yeah.
You just gotta be super sneaky, right?
Well, it's not about being sneaky. They only reach so far. Mason just got too close. You also have to cross it though. So just remember, when you're putting your rope up to get across, just make the rope.
You
Can I
really
climb
go
on the
ceiling.
ceiling and get across?
Climb on the ceiling.
I cannot do.
It's a pretty neat trick.
Oh, Well, that'd be really good, I guess. I mean, I wish I could do that. Mason wouldn't have died.
Okay. So. Okay.
Mason was
So
a
the
good one,
ceiling
too.
is out of reach, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
spider climb now.
Well, if you guys want, I could try and
Just make sure you tie your rope. Oh, I can't count to 10. Shit. Just some this much distance. This much distance above the layered area.
Above the ground.
Yeah, it drops off, right? The water flows down and drops off, and you want to be at least
How many people of your height high?
my height.
Yep. How many of your
1.5.
height? 1.5 of you. Okay.
Yeah, he's probably at 9. He's probably standing at a solid like 5'5".
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He's like 3 feet taller.
And 9.
Okay.
Okay. Well.
Because if you tie any lower,
Oh,
right on
wait, I
there.
can talk again. I keep thinking I'm a bear. Well, I was on the whole.
I could go with you.
We can go scope it out if you guys want to
I'm
stay
down.
here. Or you guys could go back the other way. We got choices.
Well, if one of y'all climbed with the rope, we could climb the rope after you get to the other side.
Yeah, if we all want to go.
Do we all want to go or do we want to split up?
It's always best to stay together down here, especially when the guards show up. Sometimes you gotta beat them to death.
I'm not scared of no guards. Matter of fact.
Okay.
I know I want to go across.
Alright.
Yeah, go across.
Okay.
So, do
Well,
any
thank
of
you
us
for
have
your
any
help.
rope?
I do.
If maybe you want to go and.
I give him 2 gold.
What do I do with this?
You've never seen so much. Like, just so you know, most common
Hi.
folk can live off of gold for like a week.
Keep him
You're
safe.
just giving them a fortune.
Maybe now they'll
Get
help us
yourself out
out
of
more
these
next
sewers.
time.
I love it down here. What are you talking about? I get to.
Tidy up the place.
What's that?
Maybe you should tidy up the place with.
I know.
Go ahead and get some more
Tony
boxes.
just went and smashed it up.
I guess.
The Kool-Aid man just came
I'll
in.
feel bad about it and I'll give them 4 gold.
Whoa.
4. Wow, they're rich.
They're
Damn. You could buy a potion.
Maybe right, next time makes 30 boxes.
Alright, so maybe
Alright.
now we have
I
some.
mean, you know about
Less
making
rich
bear
people.
proof. That's hard.
Okay.
If you see anything suspicious, come find us at the ship and let us know.
What shit?
The
Bounty
Oh,
hunter ship.
that one. Yes.
The one with the meat
that one.
lady in it.
Well, she's very nice. She actually gave us some food too. Yeah, we'll go there. Okay.
Alright,
Bye.
I did. Alright, so I go over to
All
the
the,
opening.
as you start to walk away, all the kids like all at the same time.
By the way, I let you sneak off.
Oh, yeah. Callum's like.
Alright. Is it only me who has a rope?
I don't have a
I don't
uh,
think
I
I
don't
have anything but my quarter
Thieves
staff.
tools, does that count?
I remember.
Rope thieves would have.
Thieves, so thieves tools would be more like lock picks.
Okay.
I do have rope. I have 50 feet of rope.
Cool, I do too. How long is this tunnel? Do we know?
If you're going by what he said, the drop pits are all similar in design.
Okay.
They're just like drop pits where the water sort of drops down into like just probably the Underdark or something.
Mhm.
But the drow love it there. But the across is about 30 feet.
Okay, so.
Is that the lizard people?
No, the drow is you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you're a drow.
The
So a dark elf, drow,
Oh, okay.
same, interchangeable.
Alright, so
Looks
I'll,
like a gift.
I'll climb to the top
So
of
you aren't
the
there yet.
opening.
You aren't there
No?
quite yet. Not yet. No. You guys have quite a bit of walking to do in this tunnel, similar to what the last tunnel was.
Is his light still going?
Is your light still
Is it an
It's an hour.
for an
It's
hour?
been, it was an hour, yeah.
Okay, so as you guys exit this where the kids are
Mm-hmm.
into the tunnel that he pointed to, you probably have another 20 minutes
Mm.
Okay.
on that light. guys walking down a similar tunnel to the one you walked down before. It's a quite a ways. It's not like they're not connected. There's lots of tunnels that kind of interconnect, and you start to encounter. It's a bit webby.
No.
Let's
I
go.
know.
The webs aren't big though. They're just like normal spider webs.
Okay.
Just a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and they seem to be they're wolf spiders. So every now and then, like this like hand-sized spiders like across the surface there, and they run into holes.
Did we just come into Harry Potter?
I was about to try and do whatever that impression of that spider, but I'm not gonna try to.
Aragorn?
What Aragorn? Yeah, right.
Aragorn.
Aragorn is the elf from the other one. Okay, or not the elf. Okay.
Everyone is from Wilder.
You guys are walking. Your light actually sort of like, as you walk past them, the webs kind of go and like fizzle out, sort of from just the heat of your light spell. You guys continue walking, and do eventually arrive as the water starts pouring from your. The water's sort of stagnant, but you know that there's like an undercurrent because as you approach this tunnel area, there's another sort of circular room where it drops down and goes down this way. The water's pouring out. It's dark down there. It's farther than your.
Otherwise, can see.
60.
Yeah. Unless anyone who can see 120. I think it's you. You would look down there.
Oh.
Do I hit roll?
What's that?
Do I
Sure. Roll a perception check.
Ah, son
Man,
of a
it's all because you rolled
biscuits.
six.
Yeah.
Okay. You look down there. You just see what looks to be. You actually something very familiar to you in terms of just general terrain.
Oh.
You see sort of like a cave, underdark like area. You see a underground lake and it's full of sewage. And you see some of the holes in the wall every now and then. You're like, oh, it's probably a kobold or something. But
And we're trying to get across, not
yes,
down.
as far as what you know, yeah, you're trying to
Can
get
you
across.
see anything down that way?
Down across?
Across?
He told me I just saw him.
No, that was down.
Oh, down. Okay.
Look across.
Look across. And then I was just looking in general. 15 plus 4, so 19. 15?
Okay, so or 19. You look across and the tunnel that he said to go to still leads on, just like another tunnel, past 120 feet.
You got a long way to go.
Alright. I'm gonna start climbing up the
Okay.
ceiling with my rope.
Can I use like dancing?
Dancing
Oh,
lights.
wait.
Yeah. Did you want to cast that?
Yeah.
Okay.
To see if we can get it like across the way.
Yeah. Because you just use light spell, right? Yeah. So with dancing lights, you actually create these 3 orbs, and you guys watch as he sort of like pulls these platinum orbs. He like spins them from the air itself. Spins these like sort of platinum orbs. It almost remind you of like a spider's cocoon, sort of, but it's like woven silk, platinum silk from the air, and he sort of like throws it across, and this little orb can actually float and sort of moves, and he kind of lights the way across the room for you.
Nice.
I want to give somebody one end of the rope.
Okay.
Who wants it?
I'll take it.
Okay. And then I start
Start
climbing.
climbing. Okay. What are you gonna tie? Are you gonna tie it onto something?
Going to tie it on to, I don't think there's anything around right. It's just beds and caves. Like
Go ahead and roll a perception check for me, just generally.
Yep.
I was about to slash him.
Natural 20. Nice.
21.
Nice. So you're looking around and you're like, I know cities. I've been in sewers before. No big deal. You easily locate on this edge of the hallway. On each side of the hallway is a sort of like almost like a boat dock, like little thing like that.
Sounds convenient.
Just for if any utility like maintenance repairs need to be done down in the hall. Tie it right on. Tie it tight. And you sort of
Oh, I'm scared.
perception check.
No, jeez.
Roll initiative.
I'm rolling so bad. God.
15, I think.
15. You said a perception?
Sure.
19.
19. the ceiling of this is not as well crafted in this area. There's a couple stalactites, tights, not lights. Stalactites that sort of hang down. It's a natural cave ceiling versus a stone cave ceiling. You get the sense that those kids had made a home in like one of the more central sewer hubs, whereas this one is more of an outer edge of the city, sort of. And as you are passing one of the stalactites, you hear the sound of like almost like stone sort of moving. And as you're passing by one of the stalactites, you kind of hide and like look. And right where you're hiding, this eye opens.
Oh, jeez.
On the stalactite, the eye like opens up. Go and roll initiative.
Oh no!
Man. Oh boy.
You all can roll initiative too, just to put you in order. Ooh.
Alright.
Alright, 25 to 20. So, just so you guys know, when we're doing initiative, just so I can like get it all down a little easier, I'll say 25 to 20, and if you were 21, then you can say 21. And that's plus your initiative.
Which is the same one, right? And then what's initiative on here?
It's on
Towards
the
the
up
top.
to top, sort of.
Oh, but it's this
Oh,
one. Right?
plus
The-
two.
Yep, you roll that one.
You didn't write it.
One. Oh, shit.
Agreed.
Okay, so 25 to 20, no one? Okay, 15 to 20?
18.
18
What's your dex? And what's your dex? I think hers is higher.
3.
plus 2.
Okay, so you go first.
Thank goodness.
I know,
next
you're
to
up
it.
there.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, boy.
It's just actually if you want to put it's
How many
your
hit points
dex
do you
Okay.
modifier,
I
so
have
plus
9
3
left.
there. Don't put plus 3 in initiative. What'd you roll?
I was gonna.
It's looking
Okay, so
good.
13.
I was gonna grab her with my thorn whip, but it wouldn't.
Artist.
Oh, sweet.
Alright, and 10 to 15. You got the 13?
Oh, 13 as well.
15.
15 for you, okay. What's your dex and what's your dex?
Plus 1.
Is this higher? So he'll go first.
And you gotta go last. 15 feet away.
I think you go last with that 1, right? You're at 3?
Yeah, one. I rolled a 1 and then I have plus 2 initiative.
Okay, alright. Okay. Juniper. Right by you, this almost like crusty stone eye. Like you're hiding behind a stalactite,
Uh-huh.
like looking for whatever made the sound. And this crusty stone eye right by your face, it goes, and it's like this like piercing yellow with this black dot, and it like looks like, and you
Does
can
it
hear
see
it's,
me?
yes,
Okay.
it's looking right at you
No.
as you are touching its carapace.
Okay. I want to use my.
And you were hanging from the ceiling.
Is she still grabbing onto the rope?
We'll see.
I want to use my. So I want to use my Zephyr Strike,
Okay.
and I want to pull up my dagger,
Okay.
and I want to attempt to attack it
Okay.
before running back the way I came.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your attack. What's that?
An 8.
8.
Yeah.
You like see this like stalactite open its eye at you, and you go, and it like crunches into the stone, but the stone of the stalactite doesn't seem to be allowing the dagger really through it easily. It sort of like hisses, almost like it. At that point, not only is this one eye open, but this like mouth opens as well. It like cracks open, and its teeth are like these jagged like crystal quartz as they like kind of like open. And immediately, did you want to run away?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you disengaging, or are you gonna? Because I think you use your attack with your action, right?
Yeah.
So you can't disengage. Do you want to still run, or do you want to stay in its melee range?
I want to
Run?
get out of there.
Okay, alright, go ahead. What's your
Um,
armor class?
In Zephyr Strike,
Oh.
There's no opportunity.
No opportunity
That's
attacks.
what I
Right,
used
okay.
it.
Nice. Okay. So you like it goes to lunge out to bite at you, but you slash at it and you like run back across the ceiling. How far are you moving towards them? Like just your full movement back down?
Yep, full movement back
Okay.
down.
You have 20 feet of movement when you're climbing, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is
Nice.
that all you want to do with your turn?
I want to tell them what just happened because I don't know if they could see it or not.
They could see that you just like kind of like what you guys know at this moment is you heard like her gasp, and then she like stabbed a stalactite and like ran back.
Yeah,
She just,
so
like,
I want
poked
to
a
tell
stone.
them. Yeah, I want to tell them what I saw.
Okay.
Big
And
ass eyeball.
yeah,
Scares me.
as she's telling you this, the stalactite as it's like hanging, actually like sort of drops down a little bit, and you see like these sort of like little legs holding on to the ceiling, and it like turns on the ceiling and starts like moving towards you guys' direction. Doesn't move super fast. Artist, it's your turn.
How far away is he?
At this point, it's probably about 20 feet away.
20 feet?
Yeah.
Cast blindness.
You're gonna cast blindness. Okay. All right. What does blindness do? Does it just have to roll a saving throw?
Yeah. Blind or deafened foe, choose one creature you can see within range to make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, the target is either blind or deafened for the duration. At the end of each of its turns, the target can make a Constitution saving throw. On a success, the spell ends.
Okay. So I think it fails. It rolled a 7. I'm imagining that your DC is higher than a 7. I think do you have your DC on your page there? It's definitely higher than 7 because it's like 8 plus something.
Probably.
So-
What is DC again?
So DC it'd be like your basically. Do you have the player's handbook with you, or so DC? I think for the sorcerers is it failed your DC obviously
Okay.
because I think it's like 8 plus your charisma plus your proficiency or something.
Oh shit.
Is what my guess would be. Yeah. So you cast the spell and instantly this like cataract forms over its eye as this sort of blue energy kind of comes out of your hand and shoots toward it. It sort of covers its eye. And it's like, and it's at that point from its carapace, from its rocky carapace, these like almost like rocky, stony tentacles sort of like start like swirling around as it cannot see and is upset about that. But it does kind of remember where you guys were as it was looking at you, so its tentacles are starting to come out towards you.
Can we kind of see where everything is?
Sure, yeah, of course. So we'll say you guys are over here. Juniper's like probably down the front. And you were the white one? Okay, so you're probably in the front since you tied the rope. Sort of like this. Too small. Definitely too small. So it's it's here. And there's a little bit of a lip around the inside. And the creature, unlike this creature, is on the ceiling right about here.
And how high is the ceiling?
It's not too high. It's probably only about 10 or 15 feet up. So from
15 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say 15. Yeah. So as he, artist kind of conjures this energy from the air, and it's sort of this blue pulsing energy ball. And he shoots it, and instantly the yellow eye that was watching you guys, is covered by this like webbed cataract. And it's like these tentacles sort of come out and start like, you know, when you spray a spider with a bug spray, it starts going like that. Its tentacles, these 6 tentacles start like whip around. And in this anger, rage sort of motion. It is its turn. It remembers sort of where you guys are. It does have a disadvantage to both for you guys. Some of the tentacles start whipping out. We'll just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. again. No, I can't use the same $10 on you. So 1, jeez, 4. Okay. Artis and Libra, these sort of tentacles just like starting to whip around. They're going to attempt to come at you guys. First one, and it's going to roll with disadvantage. 12 to hit you. Probably doesn't hit. 12 against your armor class.
It's on there, isn't it?
He is on there, but I
Yours is 13 plus your dex.
plus 1.
Because you're not wearing armor, but you have scales to protect you.
The dex like my regular dex or the bubble?
The little number, yeah, the little plus number. So I think your armor class is actually 15 without armor. That's not too shabby. So it rolls definitely lower. Its tentacles are like tentacles are whipping around at this point, and they're kind of coming near you guys, but they're not quite hitting you. They're like brushing past you, and Libra like just sort of ducks his head as this flips right over his head. At that point, it is going to like scuttle around on the ceiling. Actually, like you guys can hear it's little like it's got these like stone little legs underneath that like kind of click as it goes like along the ceiling. Yeah, it's got this sort of crustacean feel to you, but it looks like a stalactite shell sort of.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I think there probably is a Pokemon that looks very similar to this. I can't figure out how many.
I was thinking more of the one that looks like a straight up stone with 3 little legs coming out from its bottoms.
What's its
Yeah,
name? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I forgot its name. It's Rock and Rolla.
It evolves from the little
The
rock
little
one.
rock, yeah.
Okay, at that point, it is Eritrea's turn. You see this nasty, like, almost like bug-like creature that kind of reminds you of spiders. It's like clicking along the ceiling. It's got these whipping arms. There's like flipping around, and its eye is covered with cataract currently. How long does that spell last, by the way? It saves every turn, though, right?
The blindness?
Yeah. 1 minute.
It said the duration is 1 minute, but it just says at the end of, for the explanation, it said at the end of each of its turns, the turn can make the
So yeah,
concentration.
each of its turns, it'll make a save again, but then if it doesn't ever succeed, it'll last for 10 rounds.
Oh,
For a minute, because each round
Okay.
is 6 seconds
oh, okay.
in real life. Yeah.
Okay.
So what would you like to do? As it's kind of like
I'm gonna use Dust Devil.
dusting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put it up on the ceiling
Okay.
near him, within 5 feet.
Okay. So we'll say that this is the dust devil.
And then it has to, I have to concentrate for this.
Okay.
It has to do an attack save.
The save
Or,
against your
wait,
AC.
make a strength save.
Strength save. That is a 23. It
Okay.
resists whatever you're doing, or
Okay,
it doesn't do
so
damage.
it does
Yeah, half the damage.
half of the damage.
Okay. Roll your damage.
1d.
I'm not gonna let you get the final damage.
7.
7, so half to 3.
I'm already ready. 15 feet away.
So you guys watch as Eritrea, almost similarly to your style of kung fu, whips this sort of wind around and sends this like dust devil, sort of this dust from the cave below, sort of comes up into this shape of a tornado, and it starts to kind of whip around and scratch the outside of his carapace, but doesn't quite do as much damage as you.
It's still going to be.
It is still there, yeah.
yeah.
So it's like a summoner sort of spell.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's still kind of whipping and whirling, but it's not quite scratching him at the moment.
Oh.
Is it
There is-
over like dust or like loose?
Is there any debris around it? That it would-
Not where it is at the moment. It's on
Okay.
the ceiling. Anything that would have been debris would have fallen. But,
Okay.
So is it like a creature still, or is it made out of the stone?
It looks like stone. It looks like a stalactite, and if it were not moving, if it were hunkered down with its eye closed, it'd be completely indistinguishable from any other stalactite. Except now that its tentacles are flying around and it's looking at you with its eyes, like, and it's gross. You can actually every time it looks, you can hear its eye like kind of like look towards you guys. But at that point, it's going to be Libra's turn.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna,
Dragon
what's it called?
I like One Punch Man now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna use waves for elements
Okay.
and no, yeah, I can bend any of the 4 elements.
Okay. Did you want to use that ability that you got before this game, the air burst ability?
No,
Okay.
but I can still control because I get that ability plus
Plus the elemental discipline one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's not really like that's sort of like a cantrip. It's not really gonna do any damage. You could try and distract it with noise though. Yeah. So the ability doesn't. It's like the ability allows you to make a minor sound or minor illusion with the air.
attunement. Okay, dang. Okay.
And now I got my
Okay. How far is it away from?
At the moment, it's only about probably 20 feet away from you guys.
Do you have a question for me? Would I be able to
Yeah. As long as the spell doesn't have anything else that says you
I got
can't.
one.
Awesome. It didn't say that it had to do with the moon itself. So
Yeah.
I
The moon doesn't give you vision.
Yeah, we're first step, so you're safe.
So yeah,
He's the closest to me, though.
I'll use the fist of Sunbroken.
Okay.
just get 15
So-
feet
I
behind
should
me.
have just kept
Go
going.
and roll. I
for
think so. You do your 2 key, right?
Just get behind me.
Do you want to spend the 3rd key on it to make it hard to hit
15
or
feet
not?
away.
I'll run over to this side.
And what's the D6 save on there? Does it have a
That's what my
save or
plan
do
was
you
to
make an attack against it?
Climb
crap.
over there, yeah.
I think it has a DC.
Yeah, it's
I would have
must
went
make
across
strength
and just been like,
saving
bye
throw.
guys.
Great.
So roll a 14. Do you know what your strength, your key save DC? I think for you it would be 8 plus your wisdom plus your proficiency.
Plus wisdom.
8 plus the plus 2, so 12 plus your proficiency is so 14. It does meet and it beats. If it meets and beats, it rolls the same. So, but still roll your damage because then you take half. So roll. I think it's. Did you want to spend all 3 of the key points, or did you just spend 2? It's a
Come back to those
3d10.
kids.
And did you say you wanted to spend your 3rd key point on it, or did you just want to just? Okay, so go ahead and just roll the 3d10. It's the d10. This one.
I didn't say it was free.
Yeah, I saw it. And it died inside of it.
9. Nice. So roll it again. 1. And then roll one more time.
Sometimes, anyway.
Nice. So you got 20 points of damage. It takes half because it's saved. You kind of like watch as similarly to Eritrea, he sort of does this like spin kick on the ground and it whips this air up into the air, and then he like almost like whips it up into the air and then steps up and like side kicks it right in the direction of this monster, and it hits it and it sort of cracks on its face and it sort of moves back like half a foot or so, just like that, and it's just like and its arms still like whipping around. Sort of like, I don't know if you guys watched the Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah.
Remember when the guy's like, that's like, just that, and his arms are like whipping around. I got that stuck in my head. Why did I say that? Gumiho, what are you gonna do against this?
Okay. So I'm gonna move. Let's see. I kind of want to move towards this way.
Okay, so there is a slight. Go and roll an acrobatics check. So what's your speed though?
9. Speed is 30.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So yeah, with a 19, you're easily able to kind of like it's only, it looks like 5 feet, but it's really only about a foot. So you're like tiptoeing along the edge of the wall, sort of. But you're there. 19 is good enough.
And then I want to throw a moonbeam kind of towards this area, enough for them to be able to pass by, but close enough for if he moves anywhere near them, he'd get caught in it. And it's a 5-foot radius.
Okay, so do you want to put it on him now, or do you want to put it on him in hopes it'll move into it?
I want to put it in hopes it'll save them from him moving towards me.
Oh, okay, so you want to put this moonbeam kind of like
in front of it.
sort of here?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens when you cast it? Here, I'll pull it.
I know when it casts it shines like a bright light.
Now that's a concentration spell.
Correct.
A 5-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder centered on the point of the range until the spell ends to move to this loop. Sure, yeah. So you guys watch as he almost like in an MMO style game, he sort of pulls out his arrow and whistles this bird song or this sort of cave bat song, and sort of shoots this silvery arrow, and it sort of flies, but then once it gets to that point, goes up and sort of goes and makes this sort of silvery pillar of light that sort of shines like the moon in this space here that's right in front of you. It's almost like it doesn't block your sight. It's not opaque, but it's sort of seems to be getting in the way between it and you.
Nice.
Did you move? Did you want to do anything else?
I don't think I can. I used my movement and my
You could use your bonus. Oh no, you haven't slept since you cheated.
Yeah, I wanted to.
So at that point, it is now Ren's turn. What would you like to do?
Okay.
You got some knives on you. I'm imagining you have some daggers.
Yeah, okay.
Every rogue has a dagger hidden somewhere.
So I think I have a crossbow.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Simple
Yeah.
So I aim at its tentacles that are holding it to the ceiling.
Okay, so it's not tentacles. It's these little legs. So it'd be really hard to hit the legs if you could try. You could certainly try if you wanted to. It'd be a difficult aim shot. Did you want to do that? Do you want to make an aim shot towards its legs?
I'll go for the eyeball.
Okay, you go for the eyeball. Did you want to make an aim shot at a time?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack with disadvantage. 12, so we'll go ahead and roll one more time. 19. So 12 with disadvantage, you'll take the lower. It's disadvantage because you're aiming at a particular point on its body.
Okay.
So go ahead and you'll add your crossbow. So that'd probably be dexterity plus proficiency.
Dexterity is +2.
Proficiency is also +2, so it'd be 16. Ren kind of pulls out this crossbow that she's got hidden away, stashed somewhere, and it pierces right into the eye of this creature's it makes this weird as it screams, and its eyeball starts looking around, and so this the arrow is kind of moving all around. It's and it starts bleeding and pouring blood down the front of it, down the end of its stalactite. Go ahead and roll. Do you know what the crossbow damage is? Let me look up here.
Would it be the same as a longbow?
I don't think so. But I'll look here. We'll say
Because longbow is 1d8.
D&D crossbow
What's it want?
damage. Crossbow does 1d8 piercing. So go ahead and roll 1d8 and then add your dexterity.
This one. 28 and then dexterity is +2.
+2. Nice. So 8 points of damage as you pierce its eyeball.
With piercing.
Alright, so did you want to move at all?
Yes, so after firing, I run over with the moonbeam protection to where I forgot.
To where Gumiho
Yeah.
ran? Okay. So you were the white one, so you could. So what's your speed? 30?
Or how do you
Yeah,
calculate
30.
your speed too? Just so
Your speed is already on that sheet, I think.
No, that's the only thing I know.
No.
Oh, yours would probably be 30. That's the average. That's the general, unless you're a wood elf or a monk or something, or a barbarian.
okay.
So 5, 10, 15. Do you want to move all your full 30 feet?
Yes.
20, 25, 30. You kind of push past him, almost sail. You've done this before. You're a rogue.
I fucked up.
Do roll an acrobatics check for me.
Okay. So that's about 4, and then it would be this
The
one.
normal d20, yeah.
4
4
plus 4,
4, 8. Okay, high or low? Just say high or low.
Low.
Alright, cool. You sort of you are successful in traversing the area, especially around him. But you managed to get to where you wanted to go without falling into the abyss. And at that point, it is Juniper's turn at the top of the round.
Alright.
Artist, you're up next.
I'm going to. I'm going to move to the opposite tunnel from those guys.
Okay. And you got 35 movement? Or
30.
30, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There?
No, I'm gonna go inside this time.
Oh, inside. Right,
Yep.
cool. Alright.
Just chill there. And then I'm going to. I'll shoot at it with my bow. My longbow.
Okay.
Would the damage from the Zephyr Strike still?
I think the damage from the Zephyr side only applies for the one turn.
Oh, does it?
I think so. Let me check just to be sure.
Because it's concentrated.
Let me see. Just to be sure, so I'm not robbing it of damage. So it's once before the spell ends, you can give yourself advantage on one weapon attack roll on your turn. Oh, so you would have rolled that when you did advantage too. But you hit anyways. Roll in. Did you hit it? Oh no, you didn't hit it with that. Roll again, just to be sure, just so we can add extra damage in case you. With 18. Okay, so roll your dagger plus a d8.
I just have to say, with my spell, I did something kind of wrong.
Okay.
It's any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of it has to make a strength saving throw, and it lasts for 1 minute.
So.
Okay. I think we got that right.
Well, I think like every time.
Every
after its
time.
turn,
Okay.
if it's still within 5 feet of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So 7.
7. Nice. So yeah, you did hit it with the knife before,
Oh.
as you ran away.
Okay.
Able to slash a little bit away at it.
Alright.
So
then
what did you want to do?
I'm gonna shoot at it with my bow.
Okay, go
Just a
ahead.
normal shot.
Go ahead and roll your attack on that. Six plus.
So plus.
Oh, did you write plus for your bow? You should have, I think, dexterity plus proficiency.
So 11.
Okay, 11. You aim at it and it kind of bounces off its stone skin. Still not entirely enough to pierce it. Is that your turn? Okay. Artist, what do you want to do?
Wait a minute, who the hell followed me?
She sort of like cartwheeled around you as she's much better at this.
I
than
pushed
are.
you out my way. Thank you for the moonbeam, though.
I'm gonna use cast chromatic orb.
Oh, nice.
Throw it to try and hit its eye.
Okay.
As she did with acid damage.
Okay. Let's see what chromatic orb is. Okay. How do we do this? Alright, so the attack hits. So go ahead and roll your spell attack.
Just the
It'd be that plus there should be. So I think your whatever your spell casting modifier is, I think it's charisma. So there should be like an attack on your sheet where it's like plus for your spells. What's your charisma score?
My charisma.
Should be pretty
Plus
high.
2.
+2.
Okay, so I think it's your charisma score. So I think it's
Oh
plus
yeah,
4.
charisma is +4.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah. So go ahead and roll that d20 plus 4. 6. So 10. So you throw this sort of like pulsating orb again, and it doesn't quite. It explodes with this sort of green smoke, but the creature closes its eye and sort of like closes it around the arrow, and you're not able to get any damage on it. Do you want to move though?
I'll move closer to 22 as well.
Closer to it. Okay. So just right up to the edge there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you're standing right at the edge of the moonbeam. Alright, so at that point it is going to roll some d20. That's some dice. So 6. That's it.
Can I yell at them during battle?
Sure. 6.
Do you guys want to be sacrificed or what?
And
15 feet is 15 feet.
You ain't close enough to sacrifices
I'll
yet.
take 2. So 6 and 2. So we'll start with you since you're there. And it's gonna have disadvantage. So 9 plus 4 is 13. Does that hit? Yes. Okay. So the tentacle sort of like whips around and almost brushes across you, but you just like moves out of its way. It can't see, so it's not really doing this with much. So 2. That definitely doesn't hit you. That's, I mean, let's see if it rolls a 1. Alright. So it whips by you. It's not able to get any sort of grip on you at all. It's just like at this point, just whipping around it still. And at that point, it is going to be Eritrea's turn.
Well, it was the end of its turn. So
Oh
my
yes,
best double.
yes. It needs to roll 2 things actually. So strength save, natural 20 on a strength save,
Ah,
and then it needs to make a Constitution save. 12 plus, so 17. Does that beat your DC? I think it does because it's 8.
Most likely.
8 plus charisma plus, so I think it'd be 12 for you.
Could be 8 plus charisma.
8 plus charisma plus proficiency.
And then your proficiency plus 2.
For 12.
Alright, so the cataract sort of dissolves and fades off the eye and sort of falls down into the darkness. There's still an arrow in its eye. But we'll say high or low?
Hi.
So it is still blinded by the arrow. You shot into its eye.
Ooh. Nice.
Alright, so
I did do something wrong with my damage.
okay.
My 1d8 roll is increased by each slot level, although it's okay.
Okay. What level did you cast it? So when you cast it, is it a second level spell?
Yes.
And did you use a second level spell slot?
Yes.
So if you cast the spell at second level, the damage stays the same.
Oh.
But if you cast it, if you use a third level spell slot, you'll get to add that extra dice.
Okay, so it is just 1d8.
Yeah, it is
okay.
just 1d8. Yeah.
So.
Let's go ahead and roll that damage for it.
5. So
Alright, so half that. Was that all you wanted to do, or is that?
Can I? It's a concentration.
Does it say it takes an action to make it do that?
It's 1 action.
Okay, yeah. So you got your bonus action and your movement. If you want to use it.
Are you the bear now?
Okay, here we go. Where am I?
You are green there.
I guess I'm fine where I'm at.
Okay, alright. So at that point, Libra, it is your turn.
Here's the snacks if you guys want any snacks. Down the river, start cooking here. You said where the
Is your like weapons like placed inside of it from the when you're hitting it with the weapons?
There is an arrow inside. Yeah.
Okay. So it's blinded, right?
Yeah.
And all of its legs are still like
Kind of
attached.
whipping around. Yeah.
into the hands. That's why I was telling you guys.
I'm gonna have to use my last. Try to use step of the wind
Step of the wind to try and do what?
to get closer to it.
So you could, where you were at, you could easily run up to it with just your normal speed.
Okay.
Did you want to jump? Or are you trying to jump onto it, or?
Well, I was trying to like jump past it, but like
Okay.
as I was. Is this my guy?
Oh, you want to use step of the wind to increase your jump distance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna try to, cause that's like a pretty far deep down there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You want to jump across it? Probably do it.
Yeah, and while I did that, I was gonna try to like hit it with, like what it's holding under the sun with my side.
Sure, yeah. Let's do it. Okay. So go ahead and roll an acrobatics check. Roll with advantage since you got your Step of the Wind active and you spent the key on it, right?
You really want to kill this thing, huh?
20.
20, nice!
Oh my gosh.
And that's the acrobatic, right?
Jeez. Yeah, you got it already. You got it.
25.
So go ahead and roll the attack. That's a d20 right there. Just roll that again. See what you add your. Are you hitting with the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
19.
Oh, I thought that was another 20. Jeez. Okay, so
Wow.
you guys watch. So go ahead and roll your damage for your side.
Roll my damage.
Yep, I think it's a. Is it a d4?
Yeah, D4.
Okay, go ahead and roll that, and then add your dexterity.
2 plus 5. So 5.
Okay. All right. You guys watch as Libri he's like, screw this, jumps across, and as he jumps, he sort of spins in the air and just like drags his sai across the bottom of across the edge of it, and sort of as he's flipping and he lands on the other side of the pit, his jump speed increased by some sort of like buzzing energy within himself as he jumps across the pit, and the edge of the little cap of its stalactite sort of like falls off and goes down in the darkness. All right. At that point, it is going to be Gumiho's turn.
Me?
Yep.
So where is it now?
It is right here. This one. A lot of stuff around it.
It hasn't stepped into my beam, right?
Not quite yet.
Okay. And if I try to attack it with something else, my concentration goes away?
Only if you cast another concentration spell.
Oh.
Yep. Concentration stays. You just can't have two things concentrated at the same time. So you can attack with your sword. You can cast a cantrip that doesn't require concentration.
Pretty sure we're all 15 people, right?
No, she's right next to me.
Oh, okay, almost.
Yeah, he's already.
Yep. And Mr. Argus is like, "What's up? Square up, bro."
Oh, I see. Who's this?
That's Argus.
Artist? Alright.
Is it willing to make a sacrifice?
I mean, he broke your ribs before, bro.
I got 14 points. What you got?
Alright, can I move towards him?
Okay.
Can I
acrobatics check.
push him a little bit?
That would take your action.
That would take my action. Yeah, so I just move that way.
You just want to move towards him?
Towards him.
Okay, roll your acrobatics. Hopefully you don't fall. Okay, 19. You're good. Same as last time.
And now can I use Thorn Whip? It's one of my cantrips.
Sure, yeah. What's the... Go ahead and roll the attack on it.
Yeah. 1d6.
That sounds gnarly.
Roll your d20 to see if you hit. Oh, dang. What do you add to it?
What am I, what?
You add to it and see if maybe...
Oh,
Probably not enough, but...
Is it my dexterity?
It'd be your dexterity plus your... No, it'd be your wisdom plus your proficiency.
So plus 2,
So plus 4.
plus
Yeah. You sort of... You guys watch as he sort of whips his arm wrappings around and tries to lasso this thing a little bit, and it just doesn't hit, and it sort of slides off his rocky carapace.
I needed you out of the way.
At that point, it is Ren's turn.
Okay. Is there anything different in that cave hallway than there was in the hallway we were in before?
It's still the same sort of sewer hallway. There's no spiderwebs though.
She's piecing out on us.
It's like,
Pulling a
well,
rogue. Rogues always disappear in the battle at some point.
And where did the scythe hit it? On its side? Is
What's that?
The scythe?
Oh, the side. It kind of actually cut the cap of its stalactite right off. It fell off into the. It's kind of bleeding like this black ichor out of that hole on its head, basically.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just shoot another crossbow, but this time at that wound.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack.
This one. 16.
16 plus dex plus proficiency.
So 16 plus 2, 18.
So plus 2. Yeah, so 20. Yeah, you totally hit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
20.
Again, you kind of raise up and shoot. Go ahead and roll your d8 plus your dexterity.
This one? This one?
Yeah.
Deeper.
Oh.
8 plus dexterity.
Yep.
Oh, okay, you have spread.
Alright, plus 2.
And then at the beginning, you got plus 2.
6, 8.
Nice. How do you want to do this? So when I say how do you want to do this, what that means is that you killed it with the amount of damage that you did. So you can describe how you killed it. Like it really, there's no rules. It's just storytelling. You can do whatever you want. You could say I aimed and I shot it and something. However you want to do this.
So I shot right at the center of the room that was bleeding out.
Okay.
And that was just enough to tear open the room more and it just pulled out.
Okay. So you guys watch as she aims perfectly and sort of slides as a hole right where this carapace is dripping its ichor. She hits the arrow right here. It goes and like sort of tears up the inside and starts to drop chunks, and the whole thing sort of just goes and falls down this hole, and only you see it splash into the lake below.
Oh, me?
Yep, only you can see the down into the darkness.
Oh, 120?
Yeah, it's pretty far down there. You didn't want to fall, that's why you were rolling acrobatics check. It's first kill, yeah. Alright, so
Join the
Damn time
pack.
that thing died.
what's that?
I said about damn time that thing died.
Right. Alright. So at that music worked out really well. So at that point, the sort of the dust settles, figuratively and literally. It's quiet again. There's still the sound of the water like pouring off. You guys wanted to continue heading, or are you gonna finish your rope? It doesn't take too long to get the rope set back up. If you guys wanted to walk across that way too, you could.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll say you all take a 10 on passing your acrobatics check. With some time, you guys are all able to get across without any too many issues, at least. Every now and then, probably artists, right? Because you don't have too good of a dex, do you?
+2.
Okay, that's not too bad actually. So I think most of you have a pretty good dex actually. So you guys get across without a major slippage, but you do get across and you continue walking off in that other hallway direction this way. The cave goes on for another. Your light has fallen at this point, but for sure. But you all have dark vision, so not too worried about that. But the darkness sets in, the noiselessness sets in. You're kind of getting that. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a cave or a catacomb, but like that sort of that noiseless, dampened sound, or that sort of like wait. What's that?
Like echo.
It's not even an echo. It's just the fact that there's a lack of noise in general. It's almost you're starting to feel like claustrophobic because it closes in on you. But you guys are relieved and also frightened at the same time that as you continue to walk, you do hear what sounds like someone speaking off in the distance of this tunnel. Like off in that way, you hear like someone almost practicing like a language. It's a language you don't understand, but it seems like they're like, you just hear like this sort of guttural language, and then just like, no, that's not right. And it continues again with the language again.
And we can't like make it out.
You can hear him. You can hear someone muttering, and then like a language you don't understand. What languages do you guys speak?
Should we go one by one?
Sure. What language do you speak? You speak Draconic and
Speak Common, Elvish, and Draconic.
okay.
Common, Infernal, Dwarvish, Orcish, Goblin.
Okay.
Common,
Also, you get to
Infernal,
pick 2 more,
Infernal.
by the way.
Oh, I do?
Yes, because it's part of your mastermind rogue thing. I think you get to pick 2 more. You're knowledgeable. You're almost as good as Dimitri.
What other languages are there?
What do you know so far?
Just Common and Infernal?
Common and Infernal. You could pick any number of languages. Do you have an idea of a species, maybe?
Giant dwarf, goblin,
Elvish?
Elvish.
Yeah.
You speak Elvish, and then what's another one that you think you could speak?
What's the one that you said Draconic?
Draconic, yeah, that's the
Ooh.
language of dragons.
That's pretty sweet.
I believe you would speak that as well, also.
With the
With
oh,
your-
because with the
With your Draconic.
yeah.
language. So do you want to pick Draconic as well?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, and then what do you speak?
So then I have common, elvish, giant, dwarven, and draconic.
Okay.
Giant, druidic, common, and elvish.
Elvish, common, infernal, dwarvish, druid, sylvan.
Okay. And then you understand the language that's being spoken.
Done.
But you do hear this sort of practicing. It's almost like some mock practicing, like repetitive. Same phrases in this language are being said over and over again, and then like followed by like that's not right. Like, this weird sort of muttering that follows it. Sounds. You're not sure how far ahead it is based on the echoing, and you're not able to pinpoint exactly where it might be yet.
Can I?
Now I
see
will
if
use fairy fire
Okay. All right. Where do you want to place it?
in the direction of the noise.
The direction
I
of noise.
can
How
try-
far is your range?
20 feet.
That's a little bit of just if you probably has a range where you put it somewhere with. I think it's 30 feet that you can.
It says 60 feet, 20 feet.
It might be 60.
60 feet you can throw it, and 20 feet is the radius.
Let's see.
No.
Yeah, you can put it up to 60 feet away. From
Okay.
it. Okay. Do you want to just put it out as far as you can?
Yep.
You guys watch as she sort of like grabs onto her crystal, and this purple dust sort of falls into her hand, and she blows it off, and it sort of like clouds up and sort of flies off into this distance, and you see, and at that point nothing seems except for every now and then a little spider kind of, and you see the spider pretty well because it's highlighted by the fairy fire, but
Okay.
nothing up to 80 feet away that you can see.
Can I look 120 feet away?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
16 plus 4. So 20.
Okay. Alright, so you look off in the distance, and about 110 feet away down this hallway, there is a door frame. Not like it looks like an entrance into something. Like a side sort of section. This is the first thing that's different besides those drop pits and the tunnels that you're in. It's sort of a stone doorway off to the side.
Okay. I want to let everybody know.
Okay.
There's a door.
These are all let know. There's like a rough-hewn doorway off to this left-hand side of this hallway, about 110 feet up the way. And there's like a voice echoing from
We could try and be stealthy and get closer.
Like,
But I'm sure once we open the door.
well, we could like listen on the other side, or see if we can like peek through the crack in the door or something.
Just break through the door.
I'd say we stealthily approach it.
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Because if we could hear it with the door closed, then we could.
I think we should
closer.
have the stealthiest person approach the door as quietly as possible, and then
People who are
if
high stealth.
if we need them to open the door, have the one with the strongest attack left.
Who's got the most stealth?
It's probably one of you two, I think.
I have 5.
I have 5 as well.
What hit points?
Stealth. Your stealth.
I have one.
Yours is probably
Yes.
6.
6.
Yeah, you're stealthiest.
So we could have one person go, all of us go. We could see who rolls the highest.
Everyone roll a stealth check. Let's see where we're at just down this hallway. If you guys are stealthing now.
I got 16.
I got no.
I got
No.
I got 11.
13.
I got a 6.
I got 16.
And then what you got?
16.
You got 16?
11
316.
plus that
Oh,
stuff,
that's what I got too.
Alright, so 3 16s. So we'll say generally with 3 16s, you guys, half of you succeed. So it seems like you, as a group, together, you guys are being pretty stealthy.
Oh, you got the 2 biggest attackers. You could go up close, and if you open the door, we can attack, so that there's no danger coming to you. For the most part.
Yes,
Somehow
so
Juniper always
edge
gets
forward.
attacked.
Okay. Can I be on the ceiling again?
You Sure, yeah.
Just
All right.
follow
So
the red.
how far back are you guys standing while Juniper checks the door?
50
50
If
feet.
we
Okay.
can both see in the dark, I can see up to 60 feet.
I can see 120.
Yeah, I can see 6.
30 feet, 40 feet.
You want to say back 30 feet?
30 feet. I'll.
I don't know, 40 feet. Some 35 feet.
35 feet. Okay.
I'll be 20 feet away.
Okay. And then, so you're gonna check the door?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Go roll one more stealth check for me.
Oh boy.
As you guys start to get closer to this door.
13.
13 plus 5, 18.
Okay. Pretty quiet. You. It's always
Oh, boy.
scary. I'll just start rolling this game.
Right.
You sort of like scamper across the ceiling, grabbing on with your claws, and you look down. Sort of in the doorway, it actually doesn't have a door. It's just sort of the outline, sort of the stone outline of the door. It's open. There's about just a foot or two of a gap, and then you look into this room that's very bizarre. You see these sort of like taller pillars. It's a bigger room. It's about, I want to say 40 feet by 40 feet, maybe a little bit more, 50 by 50 or something. On the wall that's opposite the door is this tall, probably, it's like literally a 50 by 50 by 50 square. This tall mirror on one side of the wall. And then this gigantic, these two pillars that come up to the side, and there's doorways that lead off the pillars. The doorways themselves are made out of glass, not something you see very often. And as you look, you can see yourself in the mirror across the way looking through the doorway.
But I can't like see the source of the voice.
As you guys got closer, you heard it still, but as you got to be about 60 feet away, it just stopped.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's not going on.